We have a very interesting discussion today. I've been looking forward to this since I heard about this book. I was thrilled to be able to get these co-authors. Today, we are going to meet and talk to the authors of Open to Love, The Secrets of Senior Dating. And there we got, look at that. They're right there ready to go. We got Dr. Gloria Horsley and Dr. Frank Powers. I'll probably just be calling you Gloria and Frank for the rest of this discussion. But first off, thank you so much for joining us today. I've been really looking forward to meeting you and talking about your book. But before we dive into this, you all co-authored this book together, and you happen to be a couple. So tell me a little bit about your backstory, a little bit about how your backgrounds and how y'all met, and then we'll dive into the book.
Well, I'll start
Ladies
out.
first.
I've been a psychologist for 40 years, and I used to teach at the University of Rochester. And my husband died of a staph infection after his 12th back surgery. So I'd been through a lot with him. He died 4 years ago. And I decided that I would write a book for widows, and because I'd learned so much and I'd given such different advice to people than what I did. I mean, I broke a lot of rules. Anyway, so I decided, well, I think I'm going to write a book for widows. And so I decided that I needed to put a chapter on online dating because, that's a new trend. And yeah, well, I should tell a little bit. My son died of in an automobile accident. He was 17. He died 40 years ago. And I've been involved in the grief and loss and recovery world ever since. So then, I had that major loss, and then a marriage of 60 years, and my husband passed away. And, I always kind of write in order to get my head straight. So I thought, okay, I'm going to write a book for widows because I've been counseling people for 40 years on this topic. And so I decided to put a chapter on online dating. And I was staying with my sister in Arizona, who I'm very close to. And Frank is from Arizona. And so I went online. I just went on my cell phone and said, oh, people over 50, and silver singles came up. And I went online and put in, that I was interested, and filled out the profile and all that, which we talk about. And lo and behold, Frank, a couple of people came up for me to meet in Arizona. And so I set that up. Frank and I had very short dialogue with him. And anyway, we met, and my goodness, it was like a puzzle piece fitting together. And we've been together ever since, going on 3 years now.
Now, Frank, I want to hear your story, but before I do that, so you started writing the book on becoming a widow. Did that book ever get completed, or did you just transition to the book on dating?
I met Frank, and I was in love, and
Well, she told me first that she was only doing research when we met the first time, and I looked at her and I said, this is more
All right.
Then I said to him, well, why don't you write the book with me? And that's how it came about. And it's actually our journey. It's going through all the things that happened to us. We talk about the family, what's happened, how I've got 3 daughters, how they got upset that I was dating, how we got through that. I mean, Piaget studied his own children, and that's how the field of child development got started. Well, we're aging. There's no book on what we're going through right now. So we're really it's a chronology of what's happened to us.
Between us, we have 80 years of clinical work, and we've been working with people who are going through the same exact issues. So we have a lot of source, our own life, and plus all of our clients that we work with for years. So we thought, hey, this is a new thing. In 1900, people lived to be 46 years of age, and now it's 78 years of age. an extra 30 years. For the first time in human history, large numbers of people are living and they're healthier because their bodies are not broke down through hard labor. And so, the idea of the fact that, okay, if you get a divorce, like I am a divorced person and she is a person who lost her husband, if you lose someone, you don't have to be alone. And you're
Mhm.
happy enough to have another relationship if you desire. And people who have relationships as they're older, as you well know, tend to live at least 7 years longer
And happier.
and happier than
Yeah.
people who are single and alone.
I
Yeah.
love it. I've got a few questions. In fact, I'm going to write them down. But before we dive into that and take our audience questions, Frank, tell us a little bit about you sort of told us a little bit that you got divorced, but tell us your backstory.
I had a divorce a year and a half before I met Gloria. And I was thinking, wow, I'm kind of an old guy. I don't know. But I had had luck dating before online. So I thought, well, before I go into a senior community, and as you well know, because you're an expert, the numbers are very favorable for men in senior facility. So I thought, well, okay. And I thought, well, no, I'll try online one more time. And I really lucked out.
Oh, this is great. Now, okay, Gloria, you're have a psychiatry practice. You practice as a therapist, a
Psychology.
psychiatrist.
Well, right now I have a big foundation and I have for years. It's called Open to Hope. And it was really started by the death of my son. And so I've had a
Okay.
podcast for over 20 years. I've been podcasting with people to find hope after
Around
loss,
grief. Yeah.
around loss and recovery.
Wow. Okay, I'll make sure to drop that into chat too. And then, Frank, what type of medical practice were you in?
Well, I was a psychologist in private practice for 35 years, and I ended it with COVID because I really didn't want to try to counsel people on Zoom. Not that I have anything against Zoom, but it's just not. I went into the field for personal contact, and during
Mhm.
COVID, it was just difficult. And I was also 79 years old, so I thought, well, this has been a long run. I really love what I did. But it's time to think about life after psychology. So,
Yeah,
and
and so then
now
you,
I'm back into it in a totally different way with this wonderful partner.
And I have to say really quickly that we are getting ready to move into a senior community.
Yes, we want to hear from you
August
about senior
1st.
communities.
August 1st,
wow,
we're
holy
moving
cow,
into.
this is great. I can't, oh man, okay.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Okay, so well, first off, we've already got a question here, and from Robert, who says, I think the challenge for aging adults is fear that they may be taking on caregiving for another, particularly after being a caregiver for a previous partner. What do you think, and what could you advise? Dr. Gloria went through it personally. Yeah, I have talked to a few people that went through a challenging caregiving situation with the spouse, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to go through that again, but now they're going through it by themselves. Any words of wisdom in that area, Dr. Gloria?
Okay. My husband had 12 back surgeries, and I had, for the last 8 years, I had helped him through tremendous problems. He died of a staph infection, but it was a result of so many
And
surgeries.
you really had caretaker
Yeah,
syndrome.
I actually lost my hair. I got alopecia a couple of years ago because I was so stressed taking care of him.
Mhm.
Well, I said to Frank and I talked about it. We were very aware about caregiver burnout, and we have agreed that we will not take care of each other on that kind of level, that we will rely on the healthcare system and on our family members to
We
help us
don't
out.
want to take the risk of caretaker syndrome ruining our relationship. I saw my aunt go through that with my uncle, and she was a lovely, lovely lady who turned into a very angry, resentful lady about caretaking. And
We
I just didn't want that to happen with Gloria and myself. So we have talked about this a great deal, and so we've worked on this issue. It's a very important issue.
And
Wow.
Frank just had a knee replacement, and this is the way we dealt with it.
Successfully.
Yeah, I left and I made
She went to Hawaii.
I went to Hawaii. Oh, it's a hilarious story. And then he went to go in and they said his blood pressure was too high, so they didn't do the surgery. So I had
to come back and do it again.
Okay, but he just recently had the surgery. I made sure he was in the operating room. I got in my car from Arizona and drove to California. And I stayed in California for a month, and Frank
I
relied
had
on
professional
he
caretakers.
had
so
professional
that-
caretakers
so this
taking care of
would
him.
let her off of that responsibility.
Wow. Well, so this is number one. I know we want to get into dating, but what I really love is the communication, because one of the big challenges that we talk about on this platform is people just not wanting to talk about things like these and sharing their preferences and talking about things in advance. And there may be people in the audience who's like, what? How could you do that? How could you leave? Hey, look, that's your preference. And it's not like you left them alone. You left them.
Oh no, she took really good care of me, but in absentia.
Yeah. But the other thing that I'm willing to bet is you had mentioned that you're either thinking about or moving to a community is because you're having this dialogue about, and you've experienced it firsthand with Gloria's husband. Hey, look, if something happens to us, let's live in an environment where there's others that can take care of us as opposed.
Absolutely. And the healthcare system fights it, by the way. They were shocked. The guy said, do you mean your wife or your relationship's not going to pick you up from the hospital?
No.
He said, no. And the guy said, well, Frank had to go
We've never had this happen before.
The healthcare system was like,
they didn't know how to handle us.
Yeah, man. This is awesome. All right. Well, let's take a peek at the book. And I'll drop this in again, but this is where you can order the book on Amazon. But what I love doing is clicking on this button here that says read sample. And let's see here. Whoops.
That's why the cartoons, we have cartoons in them.
Excellent. So
when your dog isn't enough.
oh, here, let me look at that. It says it's unconditional love, but it's not enough. Yeah. Although I guarantee you there's probably some people that could argue about that one.
Of course, of course.
But the point is you can have a dog and a relationship.
You can have both.
You can have it all.
But okay, great. Okay, so now here we got the table of contents, and what I see is we got it broken into 3 parts: getting ready, senior dating, and relationship challenges. And then your conclusion is the 5 basic rules of dating. But we've got some great chapters here that I'll jump back to. But care to comment on sort of breaking it down into these 3 parts, like when you guys were putting together the book?
Well, first of all, you got to
Get yourself ready.
Get yourself ready. Know who you are, what you want this time around.
Yeah.
You got to be really clear, particularly if you decide you're going to go online, because you have to put in your profile what you want. This isn't about being a teenager and saying, oh, this is what I do. I ski, I hike, this is about saying, I want somebody who's physically can hike. I want, this is what I want.
And we suggest that people take a look at what has worked in the past and what hasn't. That gives you a pretty good idea of what's going to work for you in the future.
Because we can go for the same stuff. I mean, you got to be careful that you don't look for the same
and get into the same thing and relive past mistakes. So you want to learn from your mistakes. That's one of the things about that's an advantage for seniors is they have some experience.
They
They
know
can
who they
use
are
that
now. They know what they
experience.
want, state it. So that's the first of the book, getting ready. And then the second part of the book is, okay, you're going to do it.
Now, where do you find this person?
Where do you go online? How do you
Yes,
do
how
it?
do you
How do
do
you
it?
deal with those fears and concerns?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that big fear? I always hear the seniors saying we're going to get scammed. Hey,
Yes.
listen.
Or you're afraid of women. I hear this all the time in my practice. I don't want to be a nurse or a purse.
Right, exactly. And we talk about that. I mean, we've already talked about the nurse parts, but the purse part is
That's also
and
an
we
issue.
talk
We
about
talk
that
about
also.
money and we talk about sex, and we have
Talk about
a
it all.
chapter called Through the Bedroom Door, which
Senior sex
we
is a
don't
whole
talk about
different
a lot.
ballgame.
We just tell people, go see the book.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a whole long conversation. And then the last part of the book, of course, is, what if it didn't work out? How do you
Yeah,
deal
how do you
with it?
deal with disappointments where something was an almost experience?
Right. And we talk about post-traumatic growth. People want to talk about post-traumatic stress ad nauseum. Let's talk about how you've grown through these experiences, how just putting yourself out there will open you up to a whole
And
new
you grow
world.
and you become
Even if you don't find somebody, it can be fun.
exactly. You can
Oh,
become a more experienced person.
wow. Okay, this is great. I love how you organized it, and I've got some questions, but I want to make sure that I dive in to some of the questions that are coming in. And we've got Arlene who says, "My husband's been in an assisted living for the last 5 years. He has Parkinson, and he's had Parkinson's for over 20 years. I would like to date, but how do I explain my situation?" Um, Man, Arlene, I totally see this. And I think, Gloria and Frank are a great example of having a dialogue and mapping this out. Gloria and Frank, any words of wisdom to Arlene, who it sounds like is still married, but
This
her
has just happened recently to me where a friend of my daughter's that we've known for many years, husband has had dementia in the hospital. I mean, she had to put him in a facility
Yes.
because, and I'm sure Arlene probably did too, put him in a facility. And I said to her, you really do need to start putting yourself out there and date. And we gave her the book. And I will tell you something, it was very, very difficult for her. But she recently got in touch with me and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've met a person, he's
You
supporting
need to
me.
give yourself, or you need to have people who are important to you, give you permission that it's all right to do this.
Yeah, I think it's from me, she got that permission, do it, it's okay, be out there, it's your life. You have to do what's best. And that's hard. It's hard for widows too. And it's hard for widowers too, to do what's best for them.
And when you're in that position, it really gives you enough time to really prepare yourself. So use the time wisely to prepare yourself for the eventuality of dating again and what's out there and what's available. So I do think there's a lot of preparation before a person should start dating after losing someone or having someone where you lose them inch by inch by inch, which is true with Parkinson's and dementia.
Well, this gal put it online.
Okay.
She said online in her profile that her husband was in dementia center.
I'm just
And it was the people that got in touch with her knew that.
yes.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best, Arlene. That's probably the best thing is that is to put it out there. Like, don't I know I had a friend who was dating and he had 3 kids and he was like, I don't know if anybody wants to date anybody with 3 kids, so I'm not going to say. It's like, no. I mean, chances are you're going to run into somebody. You don't want to be hiding that. That's part of you.
Right. That's what you
if
are.
you hide something, you're not going to find the right person
No, you
online.
want to
You've
put
got
out
to
who
be
you are.
honest. You've got to put out there what it is that you want and what you expect.
That's what we love about online dating. Even if you don't meet the person online, it opens you up to this idea that you can be honest. You've actually put it out there.
Yeah, not
in
be
the
afraid
profile.
of your situation because
No.
there's going to be someone out there that's going to work for
They
them.
may be even in the same situation.
Yeah, similar.
let me, because when you were talking about the parts of your chapter and you're talking about getting ready and now you're doing senior dating, I guess a really big thing is mentally preparing yourself for rejection, or, that you could go on a date with somebody and, they might not, uh, you might not appeal to them. And if you haven't dated in 40, 50 years, this can be really emotionally challenging.
Exactly. But it is growth producing for you to go and find out what other people like about you and what they feel wouldn't work for them. And it's just information. If you take
Yeah.
it as just information, not a statement that something is wrong with you, don't shame yourself. That's what a lot of people do. They shame themselves instead of seeing it, hey, this is just information. If it doesn't work for John, it may work for Sam, and so there is someone out there for you, but it does take time, and you do have to do you have to become a good dater, and you have to become a really good consumer of the service because it is a new kind of thing. I mean, our parents used to meet at dance halls or bars or work and whatever. Now the new way is really online because you can meet a lot of people that you wouldn't normally meet.
Well, also you need a dating buddy.
Yes.
We talk a lot about that.
Oh,
They're
okay,
the
okay.
ones that will get you through. A
Don't do it
dating
alone.
buddy.
So what's a dating buddy?
A
Like,
dating
I've never
buddy
heard this
is
term.
somebody who's interested in hearing about you being online that you can have fun with. And it's also, it could be a therapist but they're
For
not.
seniors, a lot of times it's your grandchildren
Yeah, your
because they know all
grandchildren.
about online dating. They're really great
They can help you
resources
get on,
and they have fun with it.
but watch out for your children.
Oh, yeah.
We suggest you don't use your children as dating buddies. They will think it's fun initially, but then when you tell them that you're afraid or you get a little concerned or you're a little
Then they'll
disappointed,
get worried
they're
about
going to
you.
say, well, you probably don't want to be online anymore. Go with people who are going to support you being online.
Yeah.
Find somebody. If you start talking about the fact you want to go online, find the person who says, hey, that sounds fun.
Or has done it before and
Yeah.
they're more experienced. They say, hey, I know a little bit about online. I tried it, and here we can talk
Or
about
you
this.
can just get
Let's sit around in our jammies and look at these
Yeah.
profiles.
Get
They're
an
very fun.
online dating group in your
It's
senior
gotta be
center.
fun. It's
I
gotta be.
love it.
A group.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Susan has a great question. She says, what's the sequence of events on online dating? Text, then phone calls, then video calls, then meet in person, or skip ahead and go right to meet and greet?
I like it. Go ahead.
Yes, yes.
We like
The quicker you meet someone, the more you get the information that you need to
Yeah.
know whether this is going to work or not. A lot of men, unfortunately, and it is more men, want to text a long time for various reasons and don't necessarily want to meet up. I would advise women in particular meet up as soon as you
As
can.
soon as possible for that.
And check the person out. Be a good consumer. You can go to E-Verify or
White
Google.
pages.
Yes, Google search
Yeah.
and
Try to find out something
and
about
you
them.
tell the other person, look me up. Make sure that I am who I say I am, and I want to make sure you are who you say you are before we meet up.
Or you can also just meet up
You could just
quickly.
meet up.
And you're going to know, and do it at a coffee shop and do it at 15 minutes. If it doesn't work out, say thank you. I don't
The
think it's
biggest
gonna
one
work out.
rule is never give
Money.
money.
Never,
Give
not
money.
one penny, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, that's where the sad stories come in
Yeah.
about online and the danger is. So you never give money and you want to meet as soon as possible. Those are the two key.
And actually, all of the romance scams that I've heard about, it's it's sometimes years before, like,
Yeah.
it's always,
They get you really in love with them, and
Yeah.
then they can say, "Oh, my mother is having trouble and I need money. I mean,
But
could
guess
you help me
what?
out?"
Some of the major scams are from Nigeria.
right.
Yeah, they're not in this
They can
country.
never meet up with you in a million years.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so I think yeah, having a few conversations, but then getting to that
Find out the person
Face
is
me.
who they say they are.
Frank and I never had a conversation. We texted. That was it.
Um, and Ralph is saying there's so much misrepresentation in online dating. How do you get to the truth?
It's true. It's one of the sad things about online dating is that people try to present an image they think other people want rather than being honest. And so that's the reason why I'm meeting up with them so that you know that their profile picture is not 10 years old.
And make sure
They
yours
are who
is,
they say
don't
they
try
are.
to do a glam shot, people.
No,
Gotta
no,
take
no.
a shot, put up who you are.
I have one lady who took a picture of her son in front of a Maserati, and then I found out she had a Ford.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. No, and actually, a friend of mine that did some online dating, what he found great success in is like doing funny shots. Like he took a picture of himself wearing a barrel, like and had some funny caption,
Yeah,
and that attracted a
is
lot of
really
women.
important. Yes.
But the point is, that's who your friend is.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah,
guy who do
it's his
that. Put
personality.
up a picture of who you are.
Yeah. Be who you are.
I'm not putting a barrel on my pictures.
Yeah, yeah, no.
If a person is going to want you, you want them to want who
Who
you
you
are,
are
not
right
what you're
now.
projecting
Not
out.
don't waste your time.
Don't
That's
waste it.
another thing about being this
Terrible
age.
waste it.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah, we have a
Okay.
lot of time to waste.
Somebody says, I live in a small town where most of the online prospects are about 2 hours away. I feel meeting anyone with the intent of a serious relationship is jinxed from the start. Any words of wisdom for me?
Frank's from Arizona. I'm from California. We're spending half our time in Arizona and half our time in California. So you have to decide if you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, the real thing is, are there true connections? Do you like the person, and do you think the person is going to enhance your life and bring something to it?
And it is difficult, the geographical thing, but you have to
Yeah.
decide. I mean, if you really happen to link up with somebody in a big way,
Mhm.
you know may work that out. But
Yeah.
you're right.
It is
it's
more
difficult.
challenging.
It's more
It is more
challenging.
All right, stick with it. Okay, Pat says, after I turned 65, the available men dropped off. They
Yeah.
were looking for younger women.
Precipitously.
Yeah. And it's like they were looking for younger women. Now that I'm past 75 and ready to date you, but I find them too inactive, paunchy, and want to talk about their past work. Like it's not easy to
Absolutely.
find active and interesting men who look forward to the years that they have left. Very well stated, Pat. This is somebody that
Absolutely.
knows what
And
she
she's
wants.
right on. She's right on. That is what happens.
But you have to keep open, keep trying, keep
You only
putting out.
you only need one.
Yeah.
Okay. There may be a lot of people like she's describing that are out there, but there are also really good people who are looking for a relationship and are really good relationship material. You do have to, though, be a good consumer, and you've got to say, thank you very much, but I'm looking for someone who really wants the same things that I want.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the problem, it is a big problem for women to find somebody on that active level, but it is possible.
There is someone out there. I will say that it's amazing the number of people and the difference in people. So if you keep searching and you're honest about what you want and say, look, if you don't meet up these things, please don't apply. I only want people to apply who really want me and like what they see.
I wanted to say one more thing. Men tend to marry 7 months after the death of their spouse.
Yeah.
So you may be having to help them through their grief process. If you think they're good enough to do that, you may
That'd
have
be worth
to,
it. Yeah.
and you may have to train them up a little bit
Yeah.
about their work and dating. You may have to be patient and train up these boys back to being men.
Okay, now let's help Arlene out here. She's saying, why would a man want to meet me if we don't live anywhere near each other? I
Because
think
they're lonely and they want to have a connection. And if there's no one in their community and they haven't met anybody, they're going to be just as interested as you are. I mean, they're lonely. They don't want to be alone.
And they don't have a big group either. So,
No,
you
no.
know,
Yep. Let's see. Jacqueline asks, to both of you, what would you say are the best dating sites for older adults?
well, we did Silver Singles
Yes.
and we've
Uh-huh.
really enjoyed that site. We do some, we write a blog for them right
Yes,
now.
and what I would suggest to her is go online and look at the reviews of the different dating apps for senior adults. And those reviews tend to be very good and give you a whole list of possibilities. And there are all kinds of things like J dates.
Yeah, I was going to say, you also might want to look if you're really a Christian or a Jew or whatever. There are specific dates for that. There's
Or sites
Mormon
for that.
dating sites, there's Jewish
But
dating
the
sites.
online reviews of these tend to give you a pretty good idea of which one might work for you
For
under your
seniors.
circumstances.
And I just did a quick search on my favorite chat GPT. I tend to use this like all day, every day now. I'm going to drop in the list that they gave me, and they have Our Time, Silver Singles, eHarmony, Match, Senior
Zoom.
Match, OkCupid, Zeus,
Yeah.
and Elite Singles.
Yeah. All of those are very good. And each one is slightly different. So you want to take a look at the difference and see which difference will work for you.
And you
Okay.
can, we suggest you only do one right now,
Yeah, start off with one
but you
and
can
get used to it.
switch over
Yeah,
to
and
another
then
one.
if you want to switch to another one, yeah.
You'll find
Okay.
some of the same people on the
Yeah.
same ones. So.
Okay, but you all met each other on
Silver
Silver
Singles.
Singles.
Yeah, and if
Okay.
you go in there, we do a blog for them.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. Okay. Arlene is asking, what state are you all moving to live in the senior living community together?
Palo Alto, California.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
from Palo Alto, and we have a condominium in Arizona. And Frank sold his house, and I just sold my house, and that's been really interesting.
Yes.
Having my daughter, I have 3 daughters, go in, and it's like I died. It's pretty interesting, and they divided up everything from the house that belonged to my their dad.
Yeah.
And you know, it's really been fascinating. We're actually writing another book about it.
Well, that's what we refer to as Swedish death cleaning. It's like, why give away all this stuff? Why burden your kids when you're dead? Them
That's
figure it out.
right.
Let them enjoy it now. This is
Now
awesome.
it's more fun, actually. You get a chance
Yeah.
to enjoy it.
And you get to tell them the stories about all this stuff. You know.
It really does a lot of nice things.
It's interesting because Frank and I are now starting a new life together. And so all this stuff that I had that was related to my husband and his past stuff, he's a sculptor too. And he's got so many sculptures he's had to give up some of it. Those are his babies.
The art, just to give you an idea, Gloria has some wonderful artwork, and I have my artwork. And so we gave each other the right of refusal,
first refusal.
of her artwork that I didn't want, and of my stuff that she didn't want. So she has veto power. I have veto power. We only keep the stuff that we both approve to.
Okay. All right. We got some more questions here. This is somebody said this is a lot of fun. I agree. You guys are a lot of fun.
It's gotta be fun.
Well, you won't do it if it's not fun.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody says growth producing. These were your words, Frank. Did you say we learn about ourselves through potential new friendships and relationships?
Exactly. We learn a lot about ourselves, about what we meet someone and we think that we instantly like them or whatever. And then all of a sudden, as we get to know them more, we find out, oh, well, they like the ketchup in the refrigerator and I like it out. And so the differences you learn from, and you learn what can I compromise with this person and what can I not compromise with this person.
And
so
who
you
am
learn
I?
a lot about who you are.
Who am I at 80?
Through the dating process, because you're not 30 anymore. You're a different person.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Well, and just think about
Exciting.
how how little we knew back in our 20s and 30s when most of us started relationships, and how just more robust, and we've gone through the good, bad, and the ugly. We're resilient, and we're really bringing a lot more to the table now.
Yeah.
And
But
that's the advantage that we have as seniors when we started dating is we have a lot of experience that we can use. And it is important to take a look at that experience and see what part of it helps us with a new relationship.
yeah. Okay. And somebody was asking about you all as practitioners. Are either of you practicing uh right now and taking on clients?
Well, I used to think I was retired until I met Gloria. She's taking me out of retirement, put me back into having fun.
Okay. But you're not practicing, like you're not like I think hearing you all talk, there's a bunch of folks that would love to hire you as their therapist. Yeah.
We actually,
And we are dating buddies for a number of people.
I was gonna
helping
say,
them.
we actually
Yeah,
are doing
we're
it ad
having fun.
hoc.
I mean, but it's all fun now for us. It's not clinical.
I,
It's really just
Yeah.
I love
doing.
this term dating buddies. I was not familiar with that, but I looked it up and it's a
Well,
legit.
we made it up.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so someone asks food, eating, cooking joy. Can you talk about how you talked about and put these details together for your growing relationship and new beginnings? Yeah, like you've talked a little bit about that, but like we're how intentional were you in your all's conversation and figuring out your lives together?
Well, Gloria and I both say the book has really helped our relationship because
Yeah.
through looking at the issues that our clients went through and we've gone through in previous relationships, we just kept talking about, oh my God, how do you handle relatives or that are not
Well,
supportive to your relationship? I mean, what do you do with that?
and how do we structure what happened to us? My daughters did an intervention where they they wanted to get rid of Frank. How do you handle that?
They like me now, but it's a process.
So writing was really helpful, and
Oh
I
God,
never
yes.
I never thought about it, but maybe journaling together would be
No, because it's detached. It's something like, like when your spouse says, "Honey, we need to sit down and talk about this." It's we both are. But if we said, "Honey, let's work on our journal together," or "Let's write a book."
I love that.
Steve, this is the basic difference between a romantic relationship where you just like what the person looks like and how they do it and whatever, and all the unconscious things you connect up with. A mature, loving relationship is when you work on these issues and you come up against differences and you work those differences through. And the more you work them through, the more confidence you have that you're right with the right person.
Yeah,
I don't want to bring any angst into this relationship. I'm too old.
yeah, hello.
How do we just have, we call it parallel partnership. We
Yeah.
have our own lives where our own people have as parallel people, grown-up people. How do we connect?
I love the parallel partnership. That's a great term. I'm going to bring it up to my wife. Okay. Let, let's help Pat out here. Pat says, occasionally I'll find an interesting person, talk to them on the phone for a couple of weeks, thinking we were really hitting it off, but they don't offer to meet up. So I suggest it and I never hear back from them again, or they ghost me. It is difficult to determine right away that these people just want some attention and what they're want their phone to ring. Are these non-committing people? Pat, this sort of ties into what Frank was saying. It's kind of like try to
Unfortunately,
get to
I've worked
that
with a number.
face-to-face
Yeah, I
meeting.
work with a number of men, unfortunately. They're so scared and so frightened, or they may have impotency problems. They may have all kinds of issues that come up. So they'd rather have this online relationship or a texting relationship. And so when you find that someone doesn't want to meet up, then you get some
They're
information.
time wasters.
Yes.
But let me say this, some people just want to do the phone calls.
Yeah.
That's okay too. If you're
Yeah.
a person who just wants to do that, we'll go for it. I mean, if that's enough in your life, go for it.
But if a person doesn't meet up.
But if you want to have that one-to-one connection,
That's the
you
reason we
gotta
say
meet up.
meet up. Yes,
Meet up.
meet up as early as possible.
Yeah, no, this is great. Okay. Man, we got through let's see, cooking. I am not cooking. Our dear 84-year young family member, they are teaching us to smile during the Thanksgiving, Christmas, or other holidays and grow to say, I love that I am not cooking. I think what I get on this comment here is that it's yeah, with your extended family, just out of curiosity, where do y'all go for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and how do you coordinate all of that?
Well,
Gloria has a great, I call it the Gloria Nation. She has the most wonderful thing. And I have almost no one. I'm the last member. I'm the last member of my family, so I'm the last of the Mohegans, except for two stepdaughters that I still keep contact with. So getting into the Gloria Nation and meeting all these people, it's absolutely wonderful for me.
and Frank and I have spent, I think we spent did we spend last Christmas? Oh, I spent last Christmas in Hawaii by myself because of
That's
Frank's
when I was having my knee surgery.
I was with my girlfriend in Hawaii. We had a great time.
Golfing, yes.
You know what? I don't know. At this age, holidays are not as huge for me. And
And everybody's different. Everybody has different.
Yeah, and it's individual.
we just go with the flow. I give myself permission to go with the flow now. That's what I would say to you.
Gloria's birthday is on July 4th, and we're going to end up in Brandon playing golf, in Brandon, Oregon, playing golf for her birthday.
We're on a road trip right now.
Oh my God.
We just went through Glacier and Yellowstone while they're doing our senior community is late being done. So I said, let's take a road trip.
Let's road trip.
So we're road tripping.
And let's put a pin in that, because I want to go towards how you found this community, but let's not talk about that yet because we still have some dating questions. Arlene says, I had a man who called every night at 9 p.m. to chat. I finally realized he was lonely and just needed a friend. So I ended. Now, and Arlene, it could have been like, depending, there might be a situation where it's like, wow, I got this great friendship here, but it's, you knew what you wanted and that's not what you wanted.
Go on, you say, it really, we have a wonderful friendship, but I need to let you know that I will be seeing other people and whatever, because this obviously is really nice and it's a good friendship, but I want more.
I want to be with somebody physically.
Okay, I love this. Okay, we got Jane who says, can we set up a dating buddy list with the people on this webinar?
I love it.
Hey,
So
I think that's sensational.
So Jane, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm putting my email address in the in chat, and if there's anybody else that's on this webinar that's sort of thinking that they might
anybody, yes,
want to help somebody else and be a dating buddy, just email me, and then I'll share that and you can connect. But yeah, I totally get it too. You know, it's like, Jane, you're probably talking to somebody who's, you know, in your exercise class. It's kind of hard to ask them, you know, hey, will you be a dating buddy? Well, everybody came on this webinar because they're interested in senior dating. There might be a few folks out there that could connect, and that could be really interesting. And then
Really
we'll have you back on as a guest, as a panel member, to talk about that experience.
And you could do a Zoom buddy group. I mean,
exactly. No,
on our website, we do have a podcast that talks about dating buddies and what you're looking for, and
the
what
golden
works.
dating doctors.
Oh, golden dating. Okay, I just did your Amazon. So golden
dating doctors.
dating doctors. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Um,
have a whole thing on
Yeah, there's a
dating,
podcast on
dating buddies
dating
in the
buddies.
book, but also
Yes.
there's that Zoom.
Okay, cool. I will make sure to share this with everybody here. Whoops, let me figure out there we go. Okay, so here's the Golden Dating Doctors website, and then you've got podcast, you've got your book, and folks can contact you right off the website there. So I'll make sure to drop that into chat, and
We've been involved a little bit with the Golden the Golden Bachelor.
oh, the Golden Bachelor. Wow, yeah.
And so they gave us those shows a little early, and we've got some comments on the shows.
We commented about it.
And we've interviewed some of the
Yeah,
contestants.
we've interviewed some of the women who were.
Really? Oh, that's pretty cool.
It
Let's
was
see.
fun. It was very fun.
Yeah.
Arlene says, I'm not cooking and I don't want to be a caregiver. I do all the cooking for
Good
me
for
and my
you.
son. We are the end in my
I'm a
family.
guy that just loves that.
Guess what, Arlene? I do neither.
Now, Gloria, did you cook in previous years? Is this new? Or have
For
you?
years, but
Yeah,
a few years ago, actually, before my husband died, I said I'm closing the kitchen. But I did a little bit of cooking, and now I do almost none.
Almost none.
All right, and Jane was asking the book title, please. It's Open to Love: Secrets of Senior Dating. I dropped it into chat. This is good. Okay, I see that we got a few minutes, and we got through a lot of our questions. Folks, if you've got questions, throw them in there. But I want to, because it's a topic that that I wanted to bring up because we talk about it a lot, is it's making a move to a community, and a lot of times, folks, this is one of these things. It's like, nope, I'm not moving to one of those places, So tell us a little bit about the thought process and how you found the place that you're moving into. It sounds like a brand new community.
It's the VI, they're all over the nation. And I mean, I don't know how many there are. I know there are a couple in the Arizona area, but I'm the one who got it first because my husband had so many health problems, and my dad had a stroke, and I saw my mother taking care of him, and I said, I'm not going to do that. So I talked my husband into buying a small one bedroom in there, and I was waiting for a larger unit when he died. So I just felt like I didn't want to move into a one bedroom. And how did I know? Because it's in my community, by word of mouth. I visited friends there, and that's how I found the community.
And the community, I pulled it up here and I dropped it into chat. This is a life plan community, folks. It has independent, assisted, and nursing all on one campus. So if there's a change in one of the couple's, health or lifestyle, you can live in the community. Now, Frank, so this is something that you had researched and done with.
I was thinking about doing that when I went online because I didn't want to do the maintenance of my home. It was becoming a maintenance hog. I didn't want to get on a ladder anymore, and I just decided, hey, I'll go to a senior community because I'm going to be retired. I don't need. See, I had my home and my office in one place, and I had my office in a casita off a courtyard with my home. So I was going to let my home go and get into a senior community. So along comes Gloria. She already has a one bedroom in a senior community. I love the community. She took me over. We had dinner there, met people, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. And so
we even did a presentation there.
Yeah, we did a presentation about our book there. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Oh, I'm glad somebody brought this up. It said, Dr. Gloria, did you say you did bereavement and grief care and healing after the loss of the loved one? I wanted to pick up on that because one thing that you said was this is what you've done your whole career, is helping people with the loss of their spouse. And then when you lost your spouse, it really helped reframe that a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I did it through the Open to Hope Foundation. We're a nonprofit with a mission of helping people find hope after loss. It's a huge resource for any kind of loss. Everything's tagged for content. We have 40 authors writing, and if you like to write and want to write for our site, you can get in touch with us. It's kind of like Huffington Post kind of thing. So, and we do.
Okay, and I'm
I have
dropping that into chat. Did you obviously, I mean, the tremendous loss of losing your son, I mean, indescribable and just very unique. But I thought you had mentioned something that, when you lost your spouse, uh, like some of the advice that you had been giving people over the years, you were now looking at that through a different lens.
Oh my God. I'll have to tell you, about 5 months after my husband died, I was in a grief group and I met this guy who golfs, and I'm a major golfer, and we went golfing every single day. 5 months later, and he ended up, after probably six or 7 months, moving into my house. So I'm in a relationship right away in the first year, which was great.
Which she
Which I
said, no,
and you're not supposed to change anything. Well, I had a summer house with my husband, and he loved it and I didn't. And I told him before I died that I was going to, he always knew I would sell it. I sold it immediately. So that's, and I had my daughters go clean it out. I didn't even go down there. I've never, ever been there since my husband died. I didn't want to revisit it. I just decided not to. I sold something right away. I dated within the first year.
all the things.
I mean, I said to my daughter, she's a psychologist and she teaches at Columbia University. And I said, Heidi, where did we ever get the idea that you shouldn't do anything for a year? Like it was cut in stone.
Yeah.
She said, I don't know. Whoever said that? And I'm like, I don't know, but we've been telling people that for a long time.
So, well, this is also good information is that so Frank was not your first romance after your husband passed away. Okay.
Oh, in fact, his name was Steve, and he ghosted her. It's the best thing that ever happened for me.
That's really why I was writing the Rudo book, because he ghosted me.
So don't worry about these things that we call failures. A lot of times they're in your best interest.
Right.
Now, Arlene has a good question that we haven't brought up is we've talked a lot about online dating, but let's talk a little bit about the fact that people are still meeting and dating organically.
In other ways, yes.
Yeah.
One of the things is that reunions are a hot thing now. You go back to a high school reunion, someone you dated in high school who now has lost their spouse through divorce or death. And all of a sudden, the spark comes again. I've had 5 people in my practice before I stopped where they met their future spouse in a
At the high school
Yeah, but
reunion.
I want to say, when you go online, there's a little gland in your brain called the amygdala.
Yeah.
That gets stimulated. I'm dating. I just put some money towards it, maybe $250. Okay, I am dating. You get out of your sweats. You go into a restaurant, you look around to see who's there. You tell your family members you're online dating. Your neighbor knows. She introduces you to somebody. You go to a class reunion. You go to a hiking thing. You put it out there. We're not saying it's the only place you can meet people, but I want to say this. It's where the fish are. You want to catch fish, go fishing where the fish are. People who are single, who are older, there are more of them online. It's just a bigger catchment area.
Really good point is that I imagine, yeah, it's helping you build that confidence. And now you might go to the grocery store and ended up talking to somebody that you wouldn't have talked to. Yeah.
Exactly.
The other thing, in our solo aging discussions, a lot of times we talk about, making friends, dating, things like that. And one of the things that it oftentimes goes towards is, folks, reflect on what gives you passion. Like, so if you like the theater, volunteering at a theater to be an usher is going to put you in connection with other people that like the theater. If you like golf, join a golf club, if you like riding your bike, join a bike club, and you may meet a romantic partner, but you're also going to meet a bunch of new friends that like doing what you're doing.
Right. Exactly.
Arlene says, right after my divorce, I met somebody at the grocery store. I brought up the grocery store. Yeah.
Way to go,
Yeah.
Arlie.
Yeah. This is great. Holy cow. I'm looking at it. We got through the hour, and man, what a fun conversation. I am so glad that I met you all. And we recorded this. We're gonna have a link to the book. We're gonna have the Golden Dating Doctors. We'll put all the links to their website. We'll have all the chat that we've got here. And I'll tell you what, Gloria and Frank, if we get some of these folks to be dating buddies that were on this, I'm going to have you back if we.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I would love
Anytime.
to. I would love to dive into that a little bit more, because I think I really like the dating buddy concept, because it addresses the scams and friendship and everything, well, thanks everybody. And we'll see y'all in July. And Gloria and Frank, thank you so much. You've really given me and a lot of people inspiration, as Jane says, on your positive approach to life after change there. All right, we'll talk to you all later.
Thank you.
Fun.
Yes.